And three, two, one, action. Welcome back to the Degen Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm with my co-host, Simon McQuinn, Dylan Rains, Mark Fleming, and me, Dan Schmader. The big news last week was we've picked a name, which was good. And for anyone that doesn't understand what Degens is, it's degenerates. And this past week, which we'll definitely talk about at some point, was a full degenerate week, I would say. I mean, that was, and it's not over yet. There's a lot of mistakes still to be made.
Yeah.
To pop the week off, actually, let's start there just to get us into the groove a little bit. Let's go into the blockbuster trades of the week, which I can't see. There. This week, Simon and Dylan had a trade that we'll talk about. Mark and Pete, and then Dylan back to back with the Drew trade. So let's get into this. Trade number one, Simon and Dylan. What do we got?
Yeah. So we had a little bit of a heater here. I mean, there's a lot of discussion, but some back and forth. The final trade ended up being I sent 3 assets for 5 assets, or I sent 5, he sent 3. So I ended up with Isaiah Pacheco, Michael Pittman, and Marvin Harrison Jr. And Simon ended up with Jonathan Brooks, Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas Jr., Will Levis, and my 2025 second round pick. So quite the haul. Dan's muted.
Simon, how did you feel right after that trade?
I felt amazing. And that's no bullshit. But I go back and forth on it. Back and forth on it.
So from like a perspective of like your overall strategy, say I don't know, what is you guys' strategy? Someone's win now, someone's build value. How does that fit into like those two ideologies?
Mine was more keeping Neighbors and using the assets that I have now to make a big splash down the road.
Yeah.
And probably waiting till mid-season when everyone's value kind of settles in. I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell right now. But
yeah, so you're trying to accumulate picks, it seems like. Well, also
I'd probably say three of those assets from that trade will be gone.
Love that.
Eventually.
Like gone by the start of the season, gone?
No, like mid-season.
Nice. Interesting.
Which could be a gamble, but I'm kind of banking on at least 2 of those guys panning out and then people buying high on them. And then I can sell them.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
Nice. Dylan, from your perspective, what was the goal there?
I mean, the goal, me and Simon, I've said Simon like 15 trades for Marvin Harrison Jr. I think every single one originally started with me keeping, some of them were like jokes, but the idea was I was trying to get Neighbors and Marv comboed. And I kind of exhausted my options without going like too much of a blockbuster. So I kind of realized that wasn't going to happen. So it ended up being putting Neighbors into the conversation, seeing what that looked like. And I mean, my team was very young before this. My team's still pretty young, but it was more so like a realignment of assets, of like condensing some of these rookies that are valued very highly right now and kind of selling them at their, this might be the peak for like Jonathan Brooks or Brian Thomas's value. I don't think that's necessarily the exact case, but I mean, Jonathan Brooks is RB9 on KTC right now. He hasn't played a single snap of NFL football. So I think I think he's still going to have a great year. I'm not like saying he's going to flop, but just kind of
capitalize on his maybe too high value.
Exactly. So
I think you guys both bring up really good points. It's like when you're making a trade or trying to find a trade target, it has to fall in line with like your overall strategy, your philosophy. It's not just based on a guy that you really like. I think we all get caught sometimes making trades just because you like a specific player, even though it may not kind of really fall in line with your overarching plan.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
the other thing too with mine is like my quarterback's already pretty strong. My tight end position I feel is pretty strong. I have faith in Bowers, even though he's a rookie. So I think this just made my decent wide receivers even better already. In terms of Neighbors into Marv and then BTJ into Pittman. And then I mean, I already got rid of Pacheco, but it was Brooks into Pacheco. So
And that's another great point. It's like both teams can win a trade and achieve, and especially when it's two guys who are trading based on not for individuals, but because it just fits their plan. So I think that was awesome. The other big trade this week belonged to Mark, which happened, was that yesterday?
That was last night, yeah.
Last night. Wow. What a high that must have been. Mark, tell us about, just walk us through that moment when you acquired the number one asset in fantasy football.
So it all started the night before. I was watching my show, and
what show?
I keep popping up. You say what show?
Yeah.
Your Honor on Netflix, Brian Cranston.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Very nice.
So I keep popping into the group chat, and I see, talks of hypothetically just trading for Gibbs or something like that. And it just put it in my head. I went to sleep with that thought. I woke up, and then I spent a good amount of the morning yesterday with old Dylan over here. And what we typically do is just hypothetics all day. And then, I don't know, I was just in the mood to make a trade. So I sent a couple texts out. And I got talking about getting Josh Allen, and we had a couple negotiations, and bada boom, bada bing. I got Josh Allen, Rashee Rice for Brock Purdy, T. Higgins, a first and 2 seconds. Fuck those picks, dude.
Dude, shout out Pete West for just like willing to deal,
Yeah.
Takes balls.
Me and Pete been doing this a long time.
Dude, that's actually a really fair trade. Now that I verbally hear it, because T's probably better than
Rashee,
dare I say it, but
yeah, no, I agree with T.
Yeah.
Rashee. I mean, Rashee could be better, but he's also a retard. So
yeah. Hey, you don't say that, bro. That's my wide receiver 4.
But will Pete need to draft? I mean, he got Purdy from Mark, who was also pretty solid. And then next year he uses a first and hits. It's totally the gamble he's willing to take.
His team dropped a lot on Fantasy Pros. It dropped below mine after that trade.
Oh, that's got to be last place if it's below
he's
side.
dead. He's dead. He's dead last, and Dylan's one spot ahead of me.
Losing Josh Allen will do that.
Mark's like 6th or 5th or something.
I feel like I should be better, but
yeah, you should be.
I mean, Fantasy Pros dropped me for me and Simon's trade from 1st to 9th or something.
Oh man, that doesn't take much to just trigger a.
I think.
downfall.
I mean, theirs is a lot of like KTC value. So like, I think I lost the KTC value on me and Simon's trade. So
plus, aren't they incorporating the bench?
Yeah.
I feel like I got a pretty good bench too, but I don't know. I think
Mark actually has a really good bench. I was looking at that.
Yeah, I think like it's confusing. I don't know.
There was another one that I used literally yesterday that had me, Dan, and Mark as the top 3.
Yes.
Here I am trying to trade all my guys away.
Yeah,
but that was like the overall. It wasn't just like contender or value view. So,
I'll speak on the trade. Oh, my bad, Dylan. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just saying those calculators are all like kind of crap, I think.
So, Mark, same question. Like, how did that trade? I mean, it's kind of a silly question because it's Josh Allen,
Yeah, I think. I mean, so Josh is 28. Purdy was 24. I mean, obviously, 28's fine, but I think it just made sense. I I mean, I don't think I really needed to do the trade either way. Like, I think I was fine before. Like, I think I had a good quarterback. T. Higgins was fine. If I didn't make that trade, I would have been completely fine to keep that team. But the way I look at it is like I kind of have a decently balanced team, like a lot of mid-20s, and if I can keep my core guys and have Josh Allen for the next 5 years, and then the fact that I didn't even think of Rashee Rice, dude, he wanted to give me Jacoby Myers and take away a second-round pick, so I was going to give him. My first offer was a first, 2 seconds, and Purdy for just Josh Allen. He wanted to do more than that. He put in Jacoby Myers, took away a second-round pick. I didn't want Jacoby Myers, and I added the second-round pick back, threw in Rashee Rice, and he liked it, and we ripped it. So it happened very quick. Not a lot of – I mean, we were both in agreement. We liked it. Me and Pete have made trades before in the past. I mean, I know that doesn't really mean anything, but I mean, there's a little history there. You know what I mean? We got a deal done.
I think it does. You guys know that you're not trying to like fleece each other at least and are flexible.
Yeah. So I'm real happy, dude. I woke up, the Celtics played last night. They won 3-0. I woke up with Josh Allen on my team. There's been worse days.
That was a good night for Mark.
That was a good day. The
Great
coffee
night.
tasted good this morning,
Yeah.
Epic.
So,
let's dip into some news real quick before hot takes and then the main story of the night. Keep, trade, or keep, buy, sell. All right. So quick updates from camp. We have potential quarterback starting drama on the Vikings, which would you guys prefer, if you're a Justin Jefferson owner like me, would you prefer Sam Darnold or the rookie JJ McCarthy as a starter?
Sam Darnold.
yeah, I have Addison, and I personally prefer Darnold.
Isn't it crazy to say? But yeah, I'm Darnold as well.
Also,
KOC's like a QB whisperer, and he's been like high on Darnold ever since they started pursuing him.
Does it save Darnold's career?
I don't know if I just know they also have a really tough start of their schedule. I think they play the 49ers week 2, Texans week 3, someone else up there. So you bring JJ McCarthy out against the 49ers week 2 and he just gets mopped. Like that is confidence. That could actually that could ruin his career kind of thing with these guys. So I think it just makes so much sense. But yeah, Darnold's getting most of the first team reps and praise from Kevin O'Connell. So
awesome. I mean, Darnold started a couple games last season and looked pretty fresh, but that wasn't. I mean, I feel like one of us could go out there and complete a few passes under the Shanahan scheme.
Yeah, just throw a screen to Debo and get fucking 20 yards.
Let's go.
And then your Brock Purdy wind up as QB6.
In Las Vegas, we have another starting battle, which is Gardner Minshew or Andrew O'Connell.
Aiden,
excuse me. AOC.
AOC.
As I like to call him. Again, here's a question. If you are a Brock Bowers owner, Devontae Adams, Jacoby Myers, do you prefer Gardner?
Yeah, for sure.
For sure. Yeah. The only problem with Gardner is I'm worried that only one of those guys, and I'm not excluding Jacoby either, because last year he played really well, but we'll get hyper targeted by Gardner.
Yeah, I think Devontae just fucking feasts this year. Minshew's he's good enough to survive, but not good enough to read defenses on the fly kind of guy.
Working offense, yeah.
Yeah, so it's more so he's just going to throw the ball to the first read, which is going to be Devontae the most of the plays. It's kind of how
in dump offs, maybe?
Yeah, for sure dump offs, whether it's Brock Bowers or Zamir as the dump off or whoever gets their passing down backs. But that's kind of how it worked with the Colts last season of him just hooking Pittman up.
Pierce does love him some AOC though.
Yeah, I think
that's worrisome.
But Pierce is probably going to get fired mid-season. So
yeah, I don't think he's a good coach. He's just like a holdover.
He's kind of badass, though. I love it.
He is,
Oh,
he's so
for
badass.
years. That guy's definitely like murdered someone before.
Well, he tried to cover up for Plaxico Burress shooting himself. Remember, he was
Yeah,
like, he
so
was
much street cred for that.
he was in the mix with all that.
Yeah, he's for the boys.
Yeah,
And I'm pretty sure he did something when he was a college coach that got him in a bit of trouble.
he was hanging out with Jaden Daniels' mom,
Yeah.
spending money to recruit people illegally.
No way.
Yeah,
That's what
yeah,
it
it goes
was.
back to Jaden.
Yeah, it was
What,
Jaden Daniels
at Arizona.
Arizona State. Yeah,
Wow. Badass.
Is that why they wanted Jaden? Wasn't there a big bunch of reports saying Jaden was going to Las Vegas?
well, it's because somebody said Jaden's going back with his guy. So
That was
everyone
neighbors.
yeah, on like Instagram Live. So everyone was like, "Oh, he's going to the Raiders. They're trading up."
Yeah, I think you guys showed me that video.
Yeah. Anyways, the other camp hype stuff is all just kind of Tyrone Tracy's getting a ton of hype.
Nice. Is that why Tyler's trying to move Singletary? Did he hear
No,
about this?
he was trying to move him before. I don't think he knows about this. Came out like today.
That would crush the poor kid.
But a lot of speculation that Tracy's going to be the third down back there already. So I mean that would make sense with Singletary. And then Jaleel is getting so much hype over in Denver. One of the beat writers for Denver said, "Is Javonte even going to make the roster with this Jaleel hype?"
Yeah, I've been seeing that.
Which is like that's
Wow, dude.
that's such an overtake. But that was what happened. So
Yep,
I don't know. So we'll see there. I mean, Simon's got Jaleel, right?
Oh yeah, and Blake Watson.
Yeah. So
He's ready to go.
But I mean, Sean Payton's so cryptic right now. He's hyped all of them up. So
I feel like he does kind of hate though Javonte.
Javonte's a really good pass blocker, so I don't think he's going anywhere.
Yeah, no.
That wasn't
ridiculous.
a Peyton guy, so I don't think he has like any extreme.
Yeah.
Dude, Javonte after his rookie year was probably going so high in startup drafts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was supposed to be the chosen one.
Yeah.
I saw an article the other day from the Chiefs camp. Hollywood Brown is looking super fast. So
Oh.
That was my Romeo Dobbs point too. It was literally the same thing. People were saying that Dobbs looks amazing this spring.
dude, what if?
Dobbs?
Yeah.
I should get
What
him
if?
back.
I could honestly see it. He dominated in the playoffs and he's getting better. He's only going into his third year, right?
Yeah.
God, they have such a young receiving group.
Yeah. I mean, the Hollywood
The videos are so funny, dude.
Yeah.
It's just these sites like Sleeper posts some PFF. Although they were posting some pretty sweet Deshaun Watson ones today. He was on fire.
Yeah. Deshaun just looks cool. So he's got the good
Yeah, he
edits.
does. He does.
Even if he plays like shit, he looks cool. So and then the only other one is Neighbors getting hyped to the fucking moon.
Yeah, he's.
I mean,
going to
his
the
is
moon.
rightfully
baby.
so. He looks so good. But
Yeah, he does.
BTJ's getting hyped too. But yeah, Neighbors is just all these one-handed grabs are coming out of practice film and like him dancing. Everyone's just like OBJ 2.0. So
Yeah. This is like a
And
professional hype.
He's had some like legitimate like hype film though. Like during some of their actual runs, he's made some
Yeah,
pretty
the guy.
pretty
He's going to be
impressive
a
plays.
beast.
I mean,
Yeah.
you see his fucking quads?
yeah, Neighbors is a dog, dude.
Yeah.
Super dog. All right. Other news to come out of the NFL. The Falcons and Eagles have received their punishment or are on the way. to
No, they
receiving
received their punishment.
A spanking?
The Eagles got out scot-free. No punishment for the Eagles. Even though Saquon, there was all signs pointing that there was tampering. Nothing happened. The Falcons lost a whopping 5th-round pick. They got fined $250,000 and their GM got fined $50K.
Oof.
That's almost
So-
incentive to keep doing it.
Yeah, exactly. So
Dude,
people were
fifth round
saying
picks emerge
peop-
all the time.
people were saying a 5th round for Darnell Mooney, Kirk Cousins, and whoever else it was. They were like, "Well, sign me up." So I mean, not really much. That's actually like pretty good. So it was just a one-time thing. So that's why people think the punishment's so low. If you guys remember, the Dolphins lost a 1st-rounder for the
Yep.
tampering with both Tom Brady and Sean Payton.
That
When they
was
did-
pretty harsh, honestly.
Well, when they did the deep dive, it turned out to be 3 years in a row. They consecutively tried to reach out to both of them. So,
Yeah.
but
That's epic.
that's no real.
I got to imagine
punishment.
that happens like in every organization.
Yeah. And then, so no punishment for Kirk. So that's
Thank
all
God.
we got.
Kirk Cousins,
He already,
America's
he already
sweetheart.
got handed his punishment with
Yeah,
his
he did.
with his replacement.
Yeah.
At the,
That would have been. That must have been such a surprise for
He
him.
got
like, a week
Jordan
before,
loved.
signing 100 mil.
yeah, he got Jordan Love times 10.
All right, let's get into some hot takes. This first one is probably not a shocker to you guys, because you guys probably already thought about this. I'm sure. Pat Freiermuth will finish top 5. I'm gonna say he finishes right at 5. So it's gonna be. I'm gonna go Travis Kelce finishes 1, and then T McBee finishes 2. Laporta, Kyle Pitts at 4. Freiermuth at 5, and then Marky Andy finishes 6. And the thing with Pat Freiermuth, and we talked about George Pickens a couple weeks ago, and the fallacy involved with a player like Deontay Johnson on the Steelers, for example, leaving to go to the Panthers, and with his departure is left 150 targets behind. A lot of people think that's going to go to George Pickens. But do not forget, there is a perceived volume fallacy in fantasy football where just because of the targets are there, they don't necessarily mean they're going to the alpha receiver. It doesn't happen every time. What does happen is it will more likely align with the team's offensive scheme. And when you have someone like Artie Smith come in, who, despite not really utilizing the tight end in Tennessee when he was a coach there, which is fair. He had, a somewhat limited quarterback in Tannehill and had Derrick Henry, who's a great rusher. When he was coaching the Atlanta Falcons, he did target the tight end quite a bit, and it got more and more each year. So it went from 27, then slightly down, and then jumped pretty high to 34% target share of tight end. And with Atlanta, it was Kyle Pitts, Jonnu Smith. They combined for over 1,100 yards and over 100 receptions. Why didn't it all go to Pitts? Who's to say? But for the Steelers, they have Pat Freiermuth, and then they have a guy named Darnell Washington, who you might remember played for the Georgia Bulldogs, known for more of a blocking tight end. Artie Smith loves going to the tight end. We've seen it the last few years. There's a ton of targets left over for the Steelers offense to replace out of Deontay. And Pat Freiermuth is pretty much sitting by himself, who has proven a couple years ago that he's capable of doing quite a lot with not a lot of targets, 90 to 100. And I think this season we will see his target share get back up to around 100, leading to a top 5 tight end finish.
Old Pat Freiermuth.
Might try to trade for him.
I like Pat.
I like Patty too.
What do you guys think?
How many targets did Ingram get last year?
Like 150, maybe more.
I think it was
So-
146.
And then, so you think you're saying Freiermuth's gonna have 100 this year?
I think that he can get to at least the top 10 number with 100, but if that jumps up and so last year he got, let's see, I think he got around 60 targets maybe. And his tight end 8 finish year was 90. So
was
last year he got
under-
47 targets. If he can just get 60 of Deontay's 140 targets, I think we can see him into a top 10 finish. If he can get 80 of those 140 targets, then we're talking top 5. And I think it's possible that offense will favor the tight end. It'll have a lot of running, a lot of play action. Get ready. And Freiermuth is somewhat of an athletic tight end. I mean, there's not,
He just seems like a Russell Wilson guy.
Doesn't he?
He seems like an Aiden O'Connell guy for some reason.
Name one of Russell Wilson's tight ends.
When I was gonna say that, I thought about that. I was like,
On the Seahawks?
he's
Yeah.
he's never.
Yeah,
Didn't
he
he
doesn't
have-
need him. And this isn't
No,
the
huh?
Pete Carroll offense,
Right?
dude. This
Like,
is the
there's-
Artie Smith offense.
I know. I'm
Yeah,
just saying.
Russ
like,
will throw to whoever Artie tells him to.
Who do you
yeah,
have? Jimmy Graham for a little bit at the tail end.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
at the
fucking-
tail end of his career.
Twilight Jimmy. But anyways, I don't know. I kind of like this take. The only thing is, I think top 10 tight end is kind of
That's booty. Top 5.
yeah. Yeah. I don't think he's top 5, but I think any starting tight end in the NFL can be top 10
Yeah.
pretty much each
Yeah.
season. I think if you told me that any of the starters, maybe if you like axed out the Chargers, because what do they have? Fucking Colby Parkinson and like Hayden Hurst.
Denver and Seattle probably wouldn't have one either.
But pretty much I'd say at least like 20 tight ends every year could be top 10, and it wouldn't be a surprise. So
Is a top 10 tight end worth playing in one of your flex spots?
That's a good question. I was trying to figure out how to
no,
pick that out. Because like what I was thinking about was like I got Schultz there, but I might not keep him there. But
He's a
I would-
perfect example of a guy who can finish top 10. And I think Fryermuth is in that Schultz tier. He just had a terrible QB situation last year.
You get enough of a benchmark that you can switch him out.
yeah,
I
I could
wouldn't.
switch.
I wouldn't keep Schultz there.
It's. I don't know who to put. I don't know. It's probably going to be Eckler or Pollard or Jalen Polk, maybe. But
So the tight end premium is a bit of a fallacy unless you're blessed enough to have like a 2 legitimate top 6, 7 guys.
Yeah, it's like we talked about on draft night. It like only works for the 2 people in our league that got top guys.
That like prioritized it. Yeah.
Who is it? Who is it? AJ that has
It's
McBride.
with McBride and Andrews. It's really nice.
Yeah, see, that's like one that could work.
I don't know. Schultz isn't that bad for if he.
Yeah, but how's he gonna get the targets and the touchdowns?
Well, yeah, I know. Going this next year, it's hard. But like last year, if you
Yeah.
look at his finish, tight end
Yeah,
premium.
last year.
Last year, tight end premium, he finished with 14 points a game.
wow,
So
That's pretty
That's
legit.
definitely a flex spot.
So
I think too. Like I get that feeling where it could be like Stroud just feeds him somehow, and it could be he has all those receivers, and Schultz is just fucking
That
getting.
happened last year a bit. Schultz had a good year. I had him for a little bit of time.
yeah, there's just a lot of targets in that room.
Tank Dell's gonna get shot by a 13.
Plus they got Mixon now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
I
gonna
think-
Fryermuth can get 90 targets. He's top 10. Schultz got 88 last year and put a top 10 finish in there in PPR.
Yeah, I like Fryermuth. He's shown a lot of talent. I think there's going to be. They didn't really bring anyone to replace Deontay other than Roman Wilson, who is an unknown rookie who's a little bit older, not super athletic. So
Yeah, they're gonna have to get Ayuk. And if they get Ayuk, then I'm completely out on Fryermuth.
yeah, yeah.
I think
So,
they'll get Ayuk still.
Yeah, I think they're gonna get him.
yeah.
This season.
No, before the season.
All right. Hot take number 2. Simon,
Oh no.
lay it out here.
We don't need to do this, but
I want to hear about this guy.
what's there to hear? He finished with
This is a good hot take.
1 year he had like less than 100 yards, and the next year he had 200, and then he had 500.
And this
Plus
next
we were
year,
talking
he's going to have
about
1,000.
And as you can tell, the way the pattern goes, he's going to be up to probably 800.
And we of
But-
course are talking about Greg.
But I
Dortch.
think he's hitting. I think Greg Dortch is hitting 1,000 yards.
No
I
way.
actually genuinely do. But I don't think he's going to get the touchdowns. So I think it's just going to be he's going to be that bench guy that you're like, thank God I have him. But
Wow. So forget about the wide receiver ranking finish. I like
he's
the 1,000 yards.
I see him as an undiscovered Zay Flowers. And
You're not the first
not just because his size and stuff, but I mean that's a huge part. But he is just a quick, small guy, and I just don't. I mean, he hasn't been given the target share that lets him kind of produce. But when he has balled out in a few games, he kind of looks epic.
You're not
And
the first contact
that's
creator
something
person.
that's something I love to go off on. And
What
if
number-
It's like some hot take.
Where do you think he's in the target rankings on that team?
The third,
Third?
yeah,
So he's ahead of,
I think he's
Running
right.
backs.
I think he's behind Marv and McBride.
and then he's ahead of Michael Wilson,
Michael
Zay
Wilson.
Jones.
Yeah, I don't like Michael Wilson at all.
What about Zay
And
Jones?
I have Zay Jones, but I think Zay Jones is gonna get like 500 yards.
Yeah,
They're pretty legit for Zay.
yeah. And then
George
the running
Hill.
backs, James Conner's not going to get a ton.
James
But-
Conner barely got past two.
I mean, yeah, I mean, we can definitely say it's a meme
I mean, it is a
pick.
hot
It's
take.
a meme pick, but
it's as good as
he
Darth as
had
any, though.
he's had some games with Kyler where they kind of just connected, and
Yeah.
you just kept seeing him get the ball. But I mean, his ceiling is so low. I feel like it's just Zay Flowers, maybe even worse. Well, I mean, it's definitely worse. He hasn't produced what Zay has done. So,
I love that take. A couple
Yeah.
of years ago, that year he had almost 500 yards. He did have a couple of games where like dude,
yeah,
he was on it, and like a couple of fantasy.
that's
Guru
what the
guys, like,
degens.
predicted
That's
it.
what the
Wipe
degens
the
are holding.
Dorch.
That's what they're holding on to.
Yeah.
Wipe the Dorch.
The
baby.
true degens are like, we saw it. We
We
saw it.
saw him, the truthers, dude. All right, I like that. All right, we already went over our trades. All right, now on to the main event, if you will. A little bit of keep, buy, sell. So this was inspired by keep, trade, cuts. Keep, trade, cut. When you get onto the website, we're not going to cut anyone because that's kind of stupid. We're going to trade. We're going to keep, and we're going to trade for. Here we go. Studs. This is a stud tier. The options are. Is this how we're doing it, though? Jalen, Devontae, Laporta.
No,
ETN.
we're just going to say one at a time.
Okay. All
And
right.
it's just
do
going to be
one.
a discussion with each guy. So like Mark wrote Waddle.
Wow.
No, I didn't. I wrote ATM.
No, I did.
All right. Did you pick all of Mark's guys? Is that why? Are you the first person?
No, I picked Rashad Bateman.
That's Mark's guy. And then did you pick Christian Kirk?
Mark, I picked all of Mark's.
That's why I thought it was Mark first, because you just picked all
No.
of Mark's fucking players.
No.
All right.
Dude, Waddle's a buy for me if I could.
Yeah. I like Waddle.
Yeah.
The bottle.
Um,
Oh,
Is he a keep if you own Waddle? Is his
Yeah.
value real?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
I think he's gonna be Mark's clear cut wide receiver one.
clear cut one over Puka.
Yeah. I think Cup's gonna have a good year.
Yeah,
I
I can
think
see
that too,
that.
actually.
Yeah.
I know. I was
If
thinking
he's
about that.
healthy.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I mean, he was good in the games he was healthy in last year.
I mean, Puka's genuinely talented though. He's not gonna like fall off.
Yeah.
It's just I mean, Cup's he's literally a triple crown winner. It's like hard to count him out even after injuries and
He's going to have to share a little bit, you know,
yeah,
I bet it'll
100%.
which Waddle does too. But like, we're talking dynasty here, right? So like, I really think Waddle is
I think Waddle's
deserves
a
to be
screaming
like
buy.
in the AJ
Yeah.
Brown tier, if not a few spots above him.
Yeah.
Few spots above AJ Brown.
I'm a huge Waddle guy, dude.
Dude, a few spots above AJ Brown's like Marv and Amon Ra. You think Waddle's that?
Honestly, I think I'm glad you said those two names because I don't think that's like super insurmountable to get to.
Yeah.
Amon
I
Ra
know-
is amazing, and he has so many receptions, which is awesome. But Waddle's like special. He's behind also a wildly generational type of receiver, so he'll have to wait a little bit.
Yeah. I think Waddle. I'd keep Waddle if I have him. I'd try and buy him for his current value. Yeah. I think his value is pretty spot on as low end wide receiver 1.
Nice. Next up, keep, buy, sell, Devontae Adams.
I'm keeping him.
Keeping him.
I'd say sell probably.
He's
Not
hard.
because-
He's hard to
because
sell.
not because of him, but I mean, I as far as like a dynasty standpoint, I don't know. I mean, he'll be good for a couple more years for sure. I'm not saying that, but
No, you're right. It's probably two more.
I don't think you can sell. I think Devontae's too old to sell.
Dude, he's so hard to sell.
So I think in terms of if you're going to sell him at his current value, he's what I think valued wide receiver 38 right now currently.
Yeah, he's like nearing 40-ish.
So I think if you sell him, you're going to fuck yourself.
Yeah,
in
you're
terms
gonna get crushed.
Like
I
you don't
think
get any return to replace what he could give you in the next couple of years.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
for
don't,
what he is.
yeah. I think
Maybe
Devontae's
2 years.
unless you get someone who's contending who thinks Devontae is their missing piece, I think you kind of just ride Devontae into the sunset on your team. I don't know, maybe. Yeah, I mean, maybe you can get like a 2nd round pick for him, but I wouldn't want that.
Nah. So
I'd
you just
rather
kind of
just-
ride him till the wheels fall off a bit.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so. But come mid-season, if he's doing well and another team's contending, and maybe you're a Devontae owner and you're not doing great, you could probably sell him.
Yeah,
True.
you can definitely get someone to bite.
True.
But he's not an off-season buy.
Yeah, he's a keep. He's a keep
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah.
Right on. Sam Laporta is the first tight end on the keep, buy, sell list.
I'd say keep.
I'm selling Laporta as well.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's tough. I don't know what I do for that.
So
I
I'm
think you
sell-
could get a lot for him.
yeah, I'm selling. I put the Laporta, but I'm selling him for sure. His ADP in startups is currently 25. He finishes the tight end 2 in tight end premium scoring last year behind Evan Ingram. Guys who are drafted like right around him is like Kyler, Jonathan Taylor, Neighbors, Olave.
It's a good little tier right there.
And in terms of if you look at his ADP versus other tight ends who had similar point scorings, I mean, on a per game basis, he finished behind Ingram, Kelsey, Hawkinson in points per game. They just all played like 2 or 3 less games than him. So, and if you look at their ADPs, Ingram scored more than him. His ADP is 97. Kelsey scored more. His ADP is 53 versus 25. Hawkinson scored more at 69 versus 25.
Damn.
So,
That's good intel right there. Points per game. So he really relied on touchdowns, it sounds like.
yeah. So Hawkinson had, or not Hawkinson, Laporta had 10 TDs last year. No other tight end had more than 6.
Ooh.
So, and the 3 guys who all scored more than him in tight end premium all had 5 or less TDs. So
Damn. Okay.
So I don't really see a world where Kelsey, Hawkinson, or Ingram score less than 5 TDs again. I think they could score 5 TDs again, like at the same value, but I think if Laporta doesn't get 10 TDs again, it's going to look like a big mistake taking him at the 25th overall pick in a startup.
Mhm.
I'd much rather take Hawkinson 3 rounds later and get Neighbors there.
So you would sell to capitalize on the hype because it's not. I mean, Jared Goff is unlikely to throw 30 touchdowns this season.
Yeah,
which inevitably would impact him.
Yeah, Laporta also got 7 of his touchdowns on 10 red zone targets.
Oh, that's a big one right there.
So, or
Quite a
10
conversion
red zone
rate.
catches. I think it was 15 targets in the red zone, 10 catches, 7 touchdowns. So
We just talked about this, but who led the league or the tight end who led the league in red zone targets? We just talked
Ferguson.
about this. Ferguson. Yeah,
Yeah.
didn't he have like 30?
24,
Okay, not that much.
but none of the tight ends were crazy. But I mean, Ferguson last year, he averaged 12.4 points per game. Laporta was 16.3. Ferguson's ADP is 92. So,
Yeah.
I mean, you can get him 6 rounds later and he averaged 4 less points per game, and signs point that Ferguson's only going to go up. So,
Yeah, that's why tight ends sketch me out.
yeah.
The valuation is all over the place.
Dude, you just convinced me right there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is good intel, Dylan.
That was good.
Yeah, that was really good.
Rest your case. Wow. Okay. So that's a sell from Laporta. Last up from the stud tier, Travis Etienne. What are you guys doing?
Keeping that motherfucker.
I'm selling ETN right now.
Oh, man.
I think I'll take the risk and keep him and see if he gains even more value and then sell him.
I'm kind of on the keep side as well. He's going into his 4th year. That is kind of the danger, though. If he doesn't get re-signed to the Jags, but he was a first-round draft pick, so maybe they keep him for 2 more years. And then he doesn't land somewhere where they give him the ball, over 300 times this season. It's just, but a lot of running backs are in that boat, so I think I keep.
I think ETN was a 2nd round pick.
He got drafted 25th overall.
Oh, was it 25th?
So
I guess he gets his 5th year. My thing,
he's another guy who he scored 12 touchdowns last year.
Yeah, I think
it's like that
ETN
might have inflated him a bit.
Yeah, ETN's like RB 6 through 8, depending on how you want to value him. He's after the big 5 of Gibbs, Brees, Bijan, McCaffrey, JT. So he's in the tier of like Kyron, A-Chain, ETN, Saquon. I don't think there's any world where ETN can break into the next category.
I see that. I mean, he's already has elite volume. Last year he had 267 carries and almost 60 receptions.
Yeah.
And he finished pretty high. I mean, he did a lot with it, but it's got to ride the touchdown train.
At the same time, though, right? Like Gibbs and Bijan and them haven't even done that yet.
True. They
like
haven't.
We're just speaking hypothetics.
Yeah.
ETN finished 3rd last year too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you got to keep and see if he can bump a bit more.
I'd keep him and hope he produces again and then get a haul for him. Someone bites.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm sell still right now.
Next grouping is not quite the superstars like Jalen, Devontae Laporta, and Travis Etienne. These guys could be fucking superstars. I mean, a couple names on there are pretty sweet. But these are kind of like 24 to 12 type of receiver. Mid-tier. First up, Christian Kirk.
We're talking about all my
Yeah, Simon put all.
I didn't even mean to pick. I just thought of the first 3 that came to my head.
I don't want to hear the bad talk.
No, but I would sell Christian Kirk, but only because I am delusional. I wouldn't say delusional, but I genuinely think Brian Thomas Jr. is the top wide receiver prospects.
They play different positions.
Simon's coming off so unstable right now. He's like, hey.
I think this guy that I traded for is going to be better than him. So I think you should not play.
I genuinely believe this.
No, I don't think he's going to get the target share.
What about this coming season? Because what if you sell? I
don't think he is. I think Brian Thomas Jr. is going to be Justin Jefferson to Jamar Chase.
Wow. You think that he's going to be that kind of guy?
I think Kirk is still really good. and he's gonna produce.
But this is the
perfect.
highest.
He's in the
value.
perfect position on Mark's team, but I don't think his value goes any higher.
Yeah. So if you wanted to sell now,
I'd
I don't
probably
think
so, even though I got like I understand the sell point on him.
I'm putting Christian Kirk as a buy right now.
dude, I like him too.
His value is kind of low. I mean, it's very low.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
that's
can get
an
him. You can get
He
him
was
for
on
like
fire last year before his injury.
you can get him for like a second round pick, and
Not for me.
it doesn't have
Yeah,
to
I
be
was
like
gonna say,
I
Mark.
was just about to say I don't.
Fuck that, bro.
Who's gonna? That'd be tough to. Christian Kirk's good. I don't like a second round pick.
I think
Yeah,
you're
but-
delusional if you think you can get a first for him.
No, I
No,
don't.
you
I, don't
definitely can't get a first, but
I think
I
it would
mean-
take probably another player. I don't know. I feel
I
like
think a second and a fourth gets you Christian Kirk.
no, a second. Yeah, 2 picks. Yeah.
I don't know.
I think if you're like contending, like obviously Christian Kirk's a little bit older. He's not super old. He's 27. So like you want to be. I think if you're trying to win and you can get Christian Kirk as your wide receiver 4 for like a second and a fourth round pick or something, or like a bench player in a second round pick, like I think that's a screaming buy.
Yep. I mean, I'm looking at his game log last year. It was pretty solid, dude.
Yeah.
22,
see,
15, 16, 14, 14, 19.
I think as soon as you guys answer it, like I see the point. I see the. I'm not looking at it from the ways you guys are looking at it.
Yeah. I mean, you could look at it in any direction. That room is fucking so crowded with Evan Engram, ETN, Gabe Davis taking targets now. But I mean, they also did lose Zay Jones and Calvin Ridley. I think Trevor Lawrence has proven to be not an elite quarterback yet. People want him to be there, but he's not elite. So him spreading around the ball like a shitload is probably not going to happen as much as him being like, oh, Kirk and Ingram are my guys in the past. I'm still going to be using them instead of spreading it out to 5 different guys evenly.
Like his little safety blanket.
Yeah. He's just familiar with him. He's familiar. Kirk's role doesn't change at all in this offense. He's still running the same routes with BTJ and Gabe Davis. So
Yeah. I can
it's
see
just
that.
familiarity. So I think as the year goes on, I would fade Christian Kirk a little bit, maybe, depending on how things go. But I don't think it's going to start the year with BTJ being the top target, even though I think he's the most talent on the team.
All right. A little split on Christian. But I think we all agree that his value is high. Just do you think it can go higher? Next up is Rashee Rice. I put him on here because
Another one of my guys.
as of yesterday, I put him on here because of his little incident. They also drafted
Xavier Worthy.
Worthy, and they got Hollywood Brown. So, what are you guys at with Rashee? Mark just bought, but
I like Rashee a lot. I said it yesterday. I think getting rid of T is such an upgrade. Getting Rashee.
Rashee was great.
I think
half.
T is just. I think T is just. I don't know. He just doesn't do it for me.
Dude, I hate.
He's never shown that he's like the dominant wide receiver. And Rashee came in his rookie year and
I hated
basically the main.
I hated T Higgins last year. So
And I got T in the 7th too, which was like it was like
Yeah,
just one of those where I remember I asked you guys because I did not want T either, and I'm like, fuck it, I'll take. I just took him, but like
that was still a good pick, Mark.
Yeah, I just feel like too. Like I'm not big on T. I believe in T, but at the same time, I wasn't like that ecstatic to have him. I mean, but Rashee Rice, I like Rashee. I like the opportunity he has on the team on the Chiefs, and
I think it's the opportunity that's the most enticing.
Yeah, the only
But they
worrying
do
thing
have
is
the amount of targets that Mahomes has now. That's the only worrying thing. But
and also his off-field stuff is worrying. I think you can't factor that in really. You just have to hope if you I
It's gonna
wouldn't.
end up being like 2 games,
I
I
wouldn't
was
go.
gonna say it's the NFL.
Yeah.
It'll be maximum 8 games, and that's
Yeah,
like in like 5
in
years he'll
dynasties,
serve
that's
it.
whatever.
yeah. I wouldn't go out of my way to buy him though.
Yeah, but in a trade,
He was a
like,
throw-in last-minute piece. You know what I mean? I said, give me Rasheed.
Yeah, I think if you're a Rasheed owner, you're okay with getting rid of him. But
yeah, Pete had been on that for a bit. When he was trying to get AR from me, he was throwing in Rasheed with everything because he was like, I'm sketched out about him. So
yeah,
that must be where a lot of people are at, but I just don't. I don't think he's gonna miss much time at all.
yeah,
Right, but I mean, if your owners are kind of devaluing him like that, maybe he's a decent buy. I do believe in Rasheed. Patrick Mahomes is a fucking beast.
yeah.
Hollywood probably won't be there next season, right? He signed a
No.
1-year deal.
I
Well,
don't know what Hollywood's deal
he
was.
did when he will get another deal when he fucking balls out this year. Hollywood Brown, baby.
Shut
Oh,
up.
Next
Actually, fuck
up,
Hollywood now. Now that I think about it,
yeah, no, Mark, you got to come to my side.
keep, buy, sell, Drake London. I don't think you can buy him, right? I mean, he's being valued like
Yeah, he's being
Yeah.
valued like crazy.
crazy.
He's kind of a. I put him because he's kind of a similar situation to Laporta. Of he hasn't really. I mean, Laporta. It's like how high is London's value going to go? Like it's very high right now. He's like wide receiver 11 value overall.
I could see it going even a bit higher.
Exactly. So I mean, like redraft leagues, he's going second round, early second in redraft right now.
It's like where CD went a couple years ago.
I don't know. It's like what kind of season does Drake have to move up higher? I know he's still very young, very, very young, but I don't know. He's just like an interesting case of it's kind of similar to Garrett Wilson, but he just hasn't produced quite as much as Garrett. He gets like 70 catches a year so far. So
Mhm.
do you yeah.
So do you just have to you could try to sell him at this value unless you believe in his
No, I'm holding
top
him.
10ness.
Yeah. I think he's a hold.
I think he's one of the guys I don't want to get rid of.
Yeah.
That's what made that trade with Dylan so tasty for me
Because you'd have neighbors and
and him.
London.
And yeah, Marv is probably going to be better than neighbors. But Drake London's what, 22? So
yeah,
it's,
like the prospect
he's
of having
literally
two
he's
sons.
only, he's only 2.
He's 23.
Yeah,
He turns 23 like next week.
yeah.
But yeah, he's still young.
And he's
Yeah.
done that with some pretty awful teams. So
The only thing is, I will say, I think London, you could get away selling him pretty high right now. I
Yeah.
think if you have someone in your league who wants London, they obviously have to pay for his price. It's obviously like you're not going to sell him like his current career trajectory so far of being a 70 catch, 900-yard guy. You could probably sell him right now as
That's the wide receiver 11.
yeah. So like
yeah,
maybe
I wish Yankees was in here. He always drafted London.
yeah, you could sell him for like 2 firsts probably right now. I don't know if that's something that
I would take that in a second.
yeah. So
I would
don't
do
think
that.
I don't think that sounds too outrageous of a deal for someone to offer right now with his ranking, but
Yeah, I would click accept immediately.
what about a 26 and 27 first round? I'll take Drake London right now.
Do you think it's bad to stack a tight end with the receiver on the same team?
no.
No, especially with Kirk Cousins.
Slinging it.
Man's gonna air it out.
Assuming Kirk
plus
starts the season.
Plus Drake London came out.
Dan asked that because he wants to trade for Drake London right now.
I actually see him as, I mean, it's who
Drake London came out today and said his thought on the offense was that the ball's going to be in the air a shit ton. That was like his exact quote or something.
Wasn't that like 3 days
yeah.
ago?
Might have been.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really want to get in it because it's just like so subjective, but I think he's potentially a top 10 guy, but it's all just like
Yeah.
guessing, right?
I believe in London for sure.
Yeah.
I think he's going to take the step to at least be like a 90 plus receptions this year.
He's the only guy that I've really like stuck with from when we started mock drafting 4 months ago. Like I always was like, oh fuck London, but I changed my opinion on Waddle.
Yeah, his ADP was so bad
Texans.
back then. He was like 48 when we were starting to do mocks.
Yeah, which is probably why we loved him so much, honestly. But last tier, these guys are not really known players. They contribute a little bit, but they're in no means a weekly winner for you. This is probably gonna be the most fun tier. Keep, buy, sell. Rashad Bateman, Zach Moss, JSN. Oh no, that's not what we're doing. Oops. Keep, buy, sell Rashad Bateman. I buy Bateman.
Yeah, I would buy.
Buy. Buy now. Who's got him?
I got him. Who wants him? I really do.
Do you think Lamar can step it up this year and be a 4,000-yard passer?
I don't know.
That's tough. No, I don't think so.
Man, what does his career look like long term if you can't like turn into something close to that? Like more like my boy Carson Wentz, you know?
Does he need to throw?
I knew it.
Does he need to throw it 4,000 yards?
Yeah, that's the thing.
For some reason.
If he like stops rushing for like 700 or 800 yards, because I can't imagine he's going to do that at like 31, 32.
He's probably going to do even more than that this year, though.
I don't know. I feel like Lamar's a little bit. Lamar's like a different type of runner than most running quarterbacks, right?
Like a low contact runner.
Low contact, more of his agility, his quickness kind of thing. I think, like, obviously he's very fast and his speed's going to decline a little bit year to year, like very small, but I feel like a lot of his.
He would only need to have thrown for 300 more yards last year to get to 4,000. Dude, he had a great.
They also like blew the brakes off so many teams that they were just like running the fuck out of the ball in the second half.
Yeah, he like doesn't have to, and they didn't lose. They didn't lose many pieces. They lost some guys on the defensive side and like offensive linemen, but they kind of made some good replacements. And then Derrick Henry being there, I don't think that's being talked about enough. I think that's going to be kind of crazy.
Yeah, I think in terms of Lamar's like longevity, I think that's like they're doing the right thing. But
dude,
I think he's in a great organization for extending his career.
Yeah. So, but in terms of
if he was on the Commanders, I would think he was done in probably 2 years.
Yeah. I agree.
I kind of wish I drafted him, dude. He had a great year last year. He had almost 900 rushing yards again.
I will say the more stuff I watch, the more I'm so happy I didn't take a wide receiver in the first round.
Yeah, like Lamar at 3, that doesn't sound like too crazy.
I mean, JJ is different, but like I'm so happy I didn't take CD at 5.
So Rashad Bateman's a buy. We kind of feel like, are you out on that, Dill? Is he just whatever?
He's just so whatever, dude. I think
he was a first round pick back in the day.
Yeah.
Next up,
I just hold on to that he just needs a chance.
Yeah.
And then just the camp hype of like Mark Andrews saying he's put in the most work he's ever seen. Rashad did, and he's like he's hungry.
I think you just have to keep him or buy him. I don't think you can sell him if you have him.
Right.
Because you're not gonna like get you're gonna get like a third round pick.
The organization likes him too. I mean,
that's always a good sign. But
signed another contract, $5 million a year for that kind of production. Yeah, very true though. Can't sell. Next up, Zach Moss, running back for the Cincinnati Bengals.
I'm a buy.
Interesting.
Like you'd buy in on him? Is that what that was?
Yeah. Like I'd go out and trade for him.
That makes sense because I don't feel comfortable like selling him at his current value. I feel
What's
like
his
he's gonna
like?
have a good
What's
year.
his like projections right
Not great. Like for this upcoming season.
now? Yeah, this upcoming season.
Yeah, it's not fantastic. I kind of just want to
He
see what
just
he does.
he just seems very meh to me. I don't know.
I think Chase Brown got a little overhyped,
Yeah.
and he's not gonna like really cut in. Zach Moss for this year for just redraft is the 33rd overall running back. So I think Dylan is absolutely correct. Of like you could get a starter for that type of value. I mean that's
Yeah.
kind of a no brainer.
I think the
33.
run game is going to take a huge hit. I think Joe Burrow is going to throw so many
All out.
yards.
Yeah. I mean, I think Mixon had a great year last year, right? It
Mhm.
was like silent, but it was pretty good. I think
He was
Zach
really good,
Moss
yeah.
is the lead back there. Zach Moss had some like actually pretty decent red zone efficiency as well last year. He was like top 10 in red zone touches, which is a
Damn.
player you would never expect. So I think for getting him, I think he's the starter. I think Chase Brown's very quick and electric, but I think he works better in a role of coming off the bench later in the game or as a third down guy.
Yeah, that's
I-
true.
I think you can get Zach Moss for dog shit money right now, and he could be a starter for your team in a start 10 league.
Fucking love that.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah.
No, I would trade him in a heartbeat. If the price. I mean, there's no one on my team that I wouldn't. I
I'll
wouldn't.
give you
trade him, actually.
I'll give you a third round pick for him right now.
I can't do it.
Yeah, and I'll give you Rashad Bateman.
James Conner is gonna get hurt in like week 3, so I might need him.
I'll
Ooh,
give
that's
you
a good
Trey,
trade, Jay.
I'll give you Trey Benson for a first.
I'm about to trade my first away to Simon for Drake London.
Hey, you send them to me
So
today.
I don't have any, bro. Next up on the list is JSN. I like this name. What are you guys doing? He's interesting because he's not necessarily valued like that low.
Yeah.
People still believe.
McDonald got everyone all hyped in the fantasy world today or yesterday or whenever he put out that statement.
That's what I mean. I mean, what are you gonna do?
He literally said he's going to be a huge part of the offense, but that means absolutely nothing. That I think 10 coaches already this offseason have said that.
Yeah.
In this particular case, I tried to buy him, and the owner was very bullish on JSN. It would have been a little bit too much.
I don't like JSN. I think he's one of those Ohio State guys. I think like Emeka is going to be the same way as JSN.
Oh,
But there's some good Ohio State receivers. Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, no, there's some
Olave.
great ones, but there's a couple that always get,
True.
I don't know, they get
Sure.
hyped pretty high.
Yeah, it's a lot easier to be really good on a team that just shit stomps everyone in college.
So if you're a JSN,
He's
owner,
definitely
you should
talented
sell.
though.
I would
Definitely
personally,
talented though.
I would sell JSN right now for his current value.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Damn.
I
Fuck
think his year last year was so bad that his ceiling now is just so much lower than it was perceived before. It was just, but I mean, a lot of things change in that offense. We'll see what happens, but personally, I'd sell him right now.
Let's see where he's being.
I think he's wide
it's
receiver.
tough. It's tough too
26.
because
Yeah.
it's tough too because I feel like the Seahawks are the most unknown team right now.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Maybe like the Commanders and the Titans. That's it.
And that is related to the last guy on the list, who is his teammate, DK Metcalf. That is a fascinating team, honestly.
Yeah.
Tyler Lockett is still there. 2 very capable running backs. Gino, who was pretty mid last year, but was great the year before, and he throws an immaculate deep ball. Have you ever seen him pass? Dude, tightest spiral in the league.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure
Gino
it's
does have
fucking
a pretty
beautiful.
ball. He's gonna
Yeah, but
get benched this
you know
year.
who has a prettier ball?
Sammy
Sam
Howitzer.
Howell.
Dude, and arm cannon.
It's Sam Howell to DK. That's why
JSN is ranked ahead
I'm
of
buying DK.
JSN's ranked ahead of Xavier Worthy, Rasheed Rice. These are just notable names. Jaden Reed, McConkey, Brian Thomas Jr.
I
Like,
take every single one of those guys.
Dude,
over
Yeah,
JSN.
that is so
So-
insane.
yeah,
That is so insane.
Keon
Yeah.
Coleman.
The fantasy community is out of their minds. How do you watch Rasheed Rice last year and go, yeah, give
Yeah.
me JSN?
And they're in the same year. That's crazy. Yeah, he's a sell. Okay.
Give me JSN.
Yeah. DK is ranked pretty high too.
What's DK rank going into the season?
19.
19.
Wow.
Yeah, that's his dynasty ranking.
Oh, so
One
that's
is-
Greg Dortch's spot. Okay.
Yeah. One behind Michael Pittman.
I see DK.
And DK's 20 just for this redraft year.
I feel like Pittman's ranked really low.
I think he is too.
I feel like Pittman should not be below Devonta Smith, but
yeah, they do love Devontae.
yeah, his name is just so heavy for some reason.
Yeah, it is.
He's a skinny little twig. All right. So are you guys buying
I'm buying DK.
DK?
Yeah.
Yeah, we get on that DK train. He only eats
Okay.
Skittles and he benches 500 pounds.
I mean, he's just. It'd be such a letdown of his career to just not be a dominant receiver.
Yeah.
And like even last year on that like pretty mid team,
Terrible.
he had some games where you're just like, how does he not do that every week?
Yeah. I think he benefits from a different system than Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll's kind of fucking goofy.
Yeah.
I don't think he like is he was a good coach, but like I think for some players they need a little bit more of a hard ass coach. I don't know if that's fucking Mike McDonald or not, but I know it's not Pete Carroll.
It's definitely
So-
McDonald. He kind of seems like a psychopath.
Yeah, a little bit with the Ravens. So I think maybe if he smacks DK a little bit around, it could be like I think DK has the talent to be a top 12 guy.
I was
So-
just gonna say that. I
That's
can
a-
totally see that.
It's like,
That's a
dude,
good
you're
point. Pete,
you're
Pete,
kind of
Pete ran a relaxed team.
He was a
yeah,
hippie.
dude. He was like,
Hippie
let's
scum.
all play ping pong, boys.
In flip flops, bros.
Meanwhile, he has the Legion of Boom just like despising him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Marshawn
from the
Lynch
ghetto
wants
of
to kill him.
Baltimore.
And then he sees DK and he's like, I work out too, and takes his shirt off. And DK's like, this is my coach, bro. This corny motherfucker. Yeah.
And Sammy Howitzer being there does add a little bit of safety.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty understated how bad the Commanders' offensive line was. I mean, Sam
Yeah.
Howell was sacked an insane amount of times.
Yeah. I think Gino's a fucking fraud. He got saved by Canales.
Yeah. I think so.
And then I mean Howitzer almost threw for 4,000 yards last year with
Yeah.
like a terrible O line.
He was like a mini Jameis last season. Jameis
Yeah.
that year where he threw 30 and 30 was like a fantasy asset. Big time. 5,000 yards, 30
30
tuds,
and 30.
30 picks.
You get into the second half, the Jameis, you got 10 points, and then you get a touch. You're like, all right, he's got 17 points. Next drive, you got a pick, you're down to 13. And then he just perennially, with the rest of the games, he gets 4 tuds. And then you still somehow end up with 16.5 points.
He's,
Yeah,
we're
it's
gonna
based
see
on-
some Jameis this year, I think.
No, it's
What?
no, he's not the backup. It's gonna be
No.
who is it?
No, it's the guy that I have on my team.
Snoop. Snoop.
Who is
Yeah.
it?
Tyler
Who's
Huntley.
actually pretty good.
Pro,
Oh,
Pro
Tyler
Bowl-
Hunt. Snoop
Pro-
Huntley. Yeah.
Pro Bowl.
Yeah, Pro Bowler.
Pro Bowler Snoop Huntley. All right. That is keep, buy, sell.
I will say we forgot my my mid pick, which was Terry.
Oh my
McLaurin.
God, we forgot
Mark,
that guy.
Oh, Mark does not.
Yo, we
don't
gotta
gotta
talk
talk
about him.
We all know what that is, dude. Fuck him.
Terry McLaurin is the most forgettable fantasy asset.
Ever.
Right, but is he a buy?
No.
Yeah, he's a
No.
buy.
Dead to
He's
me.
got
buy.
Jaden
He's a
fucking
big time buy.
he's got Looney Tunes, Jaden Daniels as his QB.
I'm buying him all day. I believe in Jaden Daniels for a year.
Yeah, I believe in him as a runner to get enough points to be serviceable fantasy wise, but I do not believe him as a passer.
I sold him, so I hope you are correct.
I think it's much easier to throw the ball to Malik Neighbors styling on kids in college versus Terry McLaurin going against NFL defenses. So
Yeah.
We shall see. If we conclude one thing, it's that it is hard to come to a consensus on keep, buy, sell, or the projected value of a player in general.
Yep.
But we can do the best we can, and I'm going to send Simon to first for London right after this call. Let's see.
Are you really?
Yeah, fuck yeah.
We'll talk.
Okay. All right. That is this week's Degen Fantasy Football Podcast. Does anyone have any closing thoughts? AB drama? Nah. Do you think AB runs his own Twitter page?
No,
Do you think he
not
sold it?
anymore. Not anymore. There was quite a shift like a few months ago.
You think he sold the page because he's
Yeah,
dead broke?
I think he logs onto it every so often, but he definitely hired some intern.
Yeah, he's got a management person he doesn't pay.
Yeah, and he probably like sexually harasses. Yeah, seems like AB. All right, we're the Fantasy Degens with the Degen Fantasy Football Podcast, and we're about to do some degenerate trading.